This is Rewired Radio with Erica Spiegelman, addiction and wellness specialist, motivational speaker, and author, helping individuals, couples, and families regain a sense of control, leading to personal growth, wellness, and a more fulfilling life. Here's Erica Spiegelman.
Welcome, everybody. Well, today we have a fantastic show. We're going to talk about eating without labels. And when it comes to food, labels are a huge deal, whether we're labeling ourselves as vegan, vegetarian, omnivore, or examining nutrition labels to make sure that we're eating the right food. All these labels have really made it hard for some of us to enjoy the important practice of nourishing ourselves. And my guest today, Swaminathan, is the founder and CEO of Amazing Protein Company, whose motto is better food for a better world. Swami and I are going to talk about how moving beyond the labels is the key to true nourishment of our bodies, our minds, and our souls. So welcome, Swami. So grateful to have you with me this morning.
Thank you, Erica. Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Yeah. So I would love to hear a little bit about how you became the CEO of this company. And I believe you were a chef for many years. Can you tell us a little bit about how you fell into the world of food, nutrition, and now this company?
Well, I fell into it as a result of being a vegetarian and having 5 children. So that's
awesome.
That's how it started. My background's actually in technology, and
Okay.
I worked with a lot of startups, Netflix in their early years and stuff. And but really, the origins of this, that when my kids were at that really tender age of 8 or 9, and their friends would come over, they were embarrassed that they were vegetarian, and they would kind of plead with me to serve meat to their friends and promise they wouldn't eat it. And I promised them I'd make something that their friends liked. So that was the beginning of it in our kitchen in the redwoods of Santa Cruz, California.
Oh, cool.
But what happened was the parents of the kids who came over would call all the time and say, "I don't know what you gave my kid, but he's raving about it. Where can I buy it?" And from my background in market research and trend analysis, I knew there was a buzz there, really just getting calls from some parents and serving it at school. So eventually we decided to go into this, really full bore and looking at it very closely. And we spent a lot of years in R&D and different prototypes and worked with places like Stanford Hospital and Stanford University and other universities with broad demographics. We really wanted to provide food that anybody could eat. And the bar for me always was an 8-year-old child who eats meat. And fortunately for us, those 8-year-old children are now the millennials of today. So we had a good market to start with. And the whole focus is really make fantastic food. As a vegetarian, I had issues with so many vegetarian products. I'd eat them myself, but they just couldn't cut it for everybody. And so we just wanted to make fantastic food that was healthy and that was very diverse. And that was our target market. So we first introduced it and also at farmers markets in Santa Cruz, and we'd get students from the university complaining that they thought we told them it didn't have meat in it. And I said, well, people really, really like this. They think it's made from meat. And that to me was good. That the taste was great and the texture was great. I knew we had something. And then through trials, we ultimately forged a partnership with Whole Foods in Southern California. And in January, we launched our products. We also had tested it up here in Northern California for a couple of years. And we launched 2 of our products with Whole Foods. And the results, we started mid-January and went to their top 9 stores.
Amazing. Congratulations. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and we've had, I'd say by today, probably over 40,000 people have bought our products at Whole Foods. And we bypassed conventional retail shelving and put it right in the hot bar. And because we felt our products could stand up. And the game changer, I think, which Whole Foods recognized, was we attracted a lot of people who eat meat to buy our products. And they would go to the hot bar and they'd see quinoa and Brussels sprouts and just walk away. Never communicate to someone that they had great food, they'd buy it. And when they saw that demonstrated with our products, that I think was a game changer. So kind of summing it up, we bring delicious entrees to mainstream America that happens to be vegan. That's the focus for us. And our product is a very revolutionary product in the sense that it's versatile, absorb flavors, and you can cook with it exactly as you cook with animal protein. You can use heat to modify the texture from a soft stew to a firm jerky. You can incorporate any kind of sauce with it. So.
Wow, I know, it looks great. I've been looking at the website, and I feel like for years, I've kind of eaten like fish and white meat a little bit, not red meat, and I've always leaned towards vegetarian meat substitutes and things like that, or substitutions. And I feel like this, obviously this product is very popular. I live in Los Angeles, and the Whole Foods, and I've seen it too. So I think it's wonderful. I think a lot of people do, even if you eat meat, want a couple days a week not to eat it, or maybe they really do want or have an intention of maybe changing the way that they eat, and this is a great way to kind of experiment with that.
Yeah, it's funny. We'd have situations that happen many times when we're doing our pop-ups where I'd say a middle-aged lady or baby boomer would come up and try it, and she'd say, "Hold on, I'll be right back." And I would tell the people who were there with me, she's bringing her husband over, and he's got a health issue. And he would come over, and he would try it, and he would go, "Yeah, I'd eat that." And, so we don't want to limit it to any demographic. We don't want to limit it to people who follow any cuisine. And to do that, you set a pretty high bar. But we set a bar that we knew we could meet.
That's fantastic. So what I know they're called Lika burgers, right? Is it called Lika? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, our product is called Lika, Lika, Lika burgers, Lika meatball, Lika meatloaf.
What is the actual what is the ingredients, if you mind me asking? Is it made out of a pea protein or?
Yeah. No, we don't. We have only 5 ingredients in Lika: wheat, barley, mushroom, yeast, and water. That's all. And if you look at other plant proteins, they're highly processed. 25 to 35 ingredients. And with these 5 ingredients, our products are not made in a laboratory. They're made in a kitchen. Bigger kitchen than I started with, but a kitchen nevertheless.
Yeah. Well, that's great. That's fantastic. So, but at one point, I mean, it's your background and also obviously you I've read in your bio that you did work, with food, or you've obviously developed a passion for cooking and food. Is your whole family on board now these days? Is this like a family business, or is this mostly what you're doing?
Well, several members of our family work in the company with me and in different capacities. And but it's quickly growing into something bigger than a family business. And we're seeing that literally as we speak. I think this year, the 3 months we launched in Whole Foods, the same 3 months, New Hope Media did a study, and that 40% of mainstream consumers had tried plant protein. That's telling you it's really going mainstream. And they may not be interested in vegan food, so to speak, but they've certainly seen a plethora of information about eating healthy.
Absolutely. There's documentaries. There's also so many health problems. My father was just diagnosed with diabetes recently. And, I got the opportunity now to learn about that. And so I've introduced in his diet, plant-based proteins and things like that. Just to kind of ease him in and have him try things as well. And he's actually wound up really liking them and incorporating them in his diet. So, that's just one person, but I feel like a lot of people relate to that.
Yeah, I can actually suggest something to you if you want to do it on air or off the air that will help your father from a dietary perspective. And it's something that is really changing in India after a 200-year tradition of replacing rice with different kinds of millet. And,
really?
Actually,
we could talk about it. I mean, there may be some people listening that have,
Okay, so before 200 years ago, they didn't use rice in India. For the most part, they used millet. And they used millet because for several reasons. One, it was much more nutritious, lower carbs, and it was better for people who were diabetic. And India has a big problem with diabetes. Wealthy people ate rice, so everybody else started to do that too. And in the arid regions like South India, where water is precious, you can grow millet with much less water, and in 48 days from seed to crop. That's how long it takes. So you can have 4 or 5 crops a year. So it's much more practical.
Yeah.
But it's much higher in protein, it's lower in carbs, much lower on the glycemic index, high in fiber. And actually, you could prepare, I've been experimenting with it, you can prepare any dish that you would make with rice, where really it's a rice pilau or something like that, a very seasoned rice. You can do that with millet and get the same results.
Oh, that's fabulous. I love millet. I will definitely start cooking with that then too.
But try, let me just go over to Little India on Pioneer Boulevard in Cerritos, where the Indian markets are, and look at the different kinds of millet, because it's about 6 or 7 different kinds. And they're not the one we normally use here. And so some of them come out cooking like Israeli couscous, but a little smaller. So it has really great texture and absorbs flavor as well.
Yeah. Oh, good. Fantastic. Thank you for that tip. That's wonderful. Thank you for listening to Rewired Radio. And now a word from our wonderful sponsors, Professional Revenue Recovery Services. With the ever-changing landscape of private insurance reimbursement, the challenges of maintaining the health of your revenue cycle may seem insurmountable. From complicated billing and clinical guidelines to changing fee structures and more, today's behavioral health providers need an ally to help optimize the revenue cycle and ensure the stability and security of the revenue so that they can focus on providing quality care for their clients. My sponsor, PRRS, is a full-service revenue cycle management company that specializes in serving the behavioral health community. They offer traditional billing and collection services, as well as utilization management, verification of benefits, training, and consultation. Additionally, they offer transitional and support services for facilities looking to self-manage their own revenue cycle. For more information on Professional Revenue Recovery Solutions, PRRS, go to www.prrsinc.com, or to speak to a revenue management expert, you can call them at 1-888-405-3118. So I want to just talk to you about, we have some time just about the labels and people, I feel like right now, I wrote a second book that'll be published in November, and one of the chapters is on replenishing ourselves nutrition and that kind of thing. And I think a lot of people are confused with all of the, technology. Every time I look at my phone, I have some diet popping up and some new book about a new diet. And, people just get a little bit confused when I really, truly believe that eating whole foods and eating foods from the earth and looking at the colors of foods and just basic, simple practices really probably are your best bet. But, is there anything you do want to say to people that are very much confused? There's some allergies out there. I have a friend who can't figure out why he's constantly breaking out in rashes. And I just feel like there's a lot of confusion out there with people of what they should and shouldn't eat.
Yeah, there is. And of course, we use wheat, so gluten is in our product, and that's one that's of concern. But really, if you take either the top 5 or the top 20 concerns of consumers, gluten-free is at the bottom of that list. Non-GMO is at the top. And that's most important to consumers, which our products are all non-GMO. But, I don't completely agree with everything. And about gluten-free, for example, when they've done studies, they're 1% of the population has celiac disease. That's a given anywhere in the world. And those people, for example, cannot eat anything with gluten. It really can be a deadly choice.
Right.
But one scientist in Australia did a small study about gluten sensitivity, and basically people started quoting him, and then he came out publicly and said, wait a second, this was not an exhaustive study. I didn't do all the trials one needs to do. So he did that for several years, thousands of people. And his result was no matter how little or how much gluten people were given in the program, the reaction was the same. If they got no gluten, they didn't know it. They still thought they were gluten sensitive. So if people are actually having something, there's probably something else going on. And some people think it might be some of the chemicals that are put in the wheat to make it produce again, the glyphosates that are put in there. So, we do see that, and we do see some people, and those are trends and fads. And I mean, my perspective is it's going to have to run its course. I'm not trying to change or convince anybody, but we're staying focused on providing really healthy food. And when we start with Lika, one of the advantages we have is that nutritionally, a 4-ounce serving of Lika, just the plain Lika before we season it, has a half a gram of fat, no sodium, 22 grams of protein, and 7 grams of carbs. So if you look at protein across the whole protein spectrum, animal protein and plant protein, both, there isn't a protein that has more protein, less carbs, less fat, less sodium than Lika. So that played a big part in how we developed it, and that evolved over time. We used to season it, but now the basic Lika that we cook with, we don't season at all. So that lets us introduce fats. In fact, someone in one of the stores in LA was a competitive fitness model and was going on a special diet, very high in protein. And so she was eating bison, and she was actually able, I went through this with her, where she could actually use Lika and choose the oil that she needed if she needed 9 grams of fat, whether it was coconut oil or sesame oil.
Avocado oil,
So you name it, whatever a person's preference is. And we're seeing people are concerned about that, but as one executive of one of the largest retailers in the said to me a couple of weeks ago, I know by eating meat I'm going to cut my life short about 5 years, but I'm not willing to compromise taste. And
that's crazy.
And then we gave him some of our products. We've just come out with some vegan egg rolls that have 6 grams of protein. And his comment was, "That's the best egg roll I've ever had in my life." And
yay, good for you.
High quality. And that's because people, whether you're a kid or an adult, people aren't going to give up unless they're highly disciplined and doing for very specific reasons. But taste is really critical. So
but you know what? Also,
a key factor.
Yeah. I feel like I help people with the recovery journeys. I have some books that are published, and I also, counsel people one-on-one. And I see when I am addressing people's physical health, and we're talking about nutrition and this and that, even when I feel like people eat the way that's familiar to them, even if it doesn't serve them, even if it doesn't really make them feel great, or even if they don't really love the taste, I still feel like the familiar as human beings stick to when, we really have to look at that and see how, trying new things, changing, the unfamiliar can become familiar. But I really do think people need to be mindful of that they're stuck in these patterns of eating that, go back to their childhood, and maybe they have some emotional connection to it. And even beyond that, they may have some loyalty to, the way their family eats, or, they don't want to be the only one that wants to get healthy. I mean, there's so many other issues that go on around food, but I really do feel that people have to just, at least hear this today, to try new things and be open-minded, and open-hearted to seeing how, other foods can serve you in a sustainable way to have a long, healthier life.
Yeah, it can totally make a difference. There's numerous studies that have been done, particularly on the Seventh-day Adventists, for example, and they've been chosen as a study group because they're really mainstream America. Large group of them live down in Riverside near Loma Linda.
I know exactly where they are.
They live longer. They have less disease, less metabolic syndrome.
I was in the hospital at Loma Linda. Yeah, they're all vegetarian. I was in that hospital. My dad was sick in that hospital for 2 months, and we would go to the cafeteria, and they had vegetarian, vegan burritos, and no Coca-Colas, nothing. It was pretty incredible. But I'm sorry, go on.
Yeah. Kellogg's were Seventh-day Adventists, and the two brothers had a disagreement. One wanted to commercialize and one just wanted to have a health sanitarium. But that's how Kellogg's began too. And, when they came up with the idea of cereal, it was like a healthy grain-based breakfast in the morning.
Right. Very interesting. Very interesting.
So the important thing I think for people is that they want to eat well, and they want food that is really delicious. And by the way, that's really important. It's not just an aesthetic thing. Right. If food tastes delicious, all your senses start, and you start digesting the food. If you look at it and it looks beautiful and it smells great, then your digestive enzymes start functioning even before you start eating it. So you're actually promoting, the better absorption digestion of those foods.
That's very, very true. Yeah, I've learned about that, and I forgot that. That's interesting. I know more the reason. So, can you tell everybody where they could find you guys and your website, and anywhere that they could connect for our audience?
Sure. Yeah. So currently, our two of our products, our beef and broccoli and our barbecue, are available in selected Whole Food stores in Southern California. That is soon expanding to all of Southern California, Nevada, Arizona, and Hawaii, with a few more dishes, which are some of our Indian dishes. And those will be available at the Whole Foods at their flagship store in Playa Vista. Has actually made a dedicated Lika hot bar because our products have been so successful with consumers.
How great!
So that's
amazing.
That's been great. And probably by midsummer, we're getting so many demands and inquiries about buying our products that we've decided to offer it online as well. And that will be in the next couple months. And we've been we just got 60,000. Our meatballs were shown online and social media. We got yesterday, the day before, over 60,000 likes on it. I mean, so the response from people, it's growing, and everybody's looking for great food and wants to eat healthier. And I think that's becoming a real trend. I'll share this with you. 2 days ago, I was in LA and I had a meeting with a company, and a gentleman that I had met works in a very, very, they don't just produce meat, but they produce a lot of meat on a regular basis, millions of pounds a week, and said to me that, the world's going plant-based, and companies like Tyson, are changing their focus. They're the largest meat processor in America, and they're changing their focus from meat processing to protein, which includes plant protein.
Wow.
So more and more people, that's big time. That's
that is huge.
Mainstream as you can get. Yeah,
right.
And that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. That people start eating better, and we're just trying to help wherever someone is, preferentially on the food spectrum, from eating meat all the time to not at all. We're trying to have products that can satisfy everybody wherever they are. We're not trying to force any kind of cuisine. We're really just trying to deliver them fantastic food that is healthy, very nutritious.
Yeah, well,
I hope you get a chance to try it. One of the things people experience when they eat Lika, they have like a whole meal of like one of our entrees, and that's kind of a game changer we've done, is to actually bring vegan entrees into mainstream rather than, if you think about it, Erica, you look at the whole food spectrum, most of the plant protein products are on the periphery, and they're either slices or burgers or hot dogs. And because of the quality of Lika, we've been able to go center stage and provide entrees.
Oh, that's so great. I'm definitely gonna be buying it and looking for it, and I'm always at every health food store in Los Angeles, and I eat very healthy myself, so I'm very excited about the product and so grateful that you were with us today and get to spread the news to our audience. So you could find Amazing Protein at amazingprotein.com, the Amazing Protein Company. Swami, thank you so much for being with us today. You're listening to Rewired Radio on Radio MD. I'm Erica Spiegelman. Thank you all for joining us, and stay well.